Hello there, guys and gals. I picked up something that is a pretty interesting piece, and I wanted to make a quick video and give you guys a little bit of a rundown and tell you what I found. It's a motorcycle. I know you're shocked. And well, let me just show you. All right, so some of you may not recognize what's sitting here. Um, I'll give you a quick rundown. In the late 1960s, Japanese motorcycles were coming into their own here in the United States. They were gaining in popularity. They were reliable, and they were inexpensive, and demand was high. And the four big companies, you had Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, and Kawasaki. Well, Kawasaki came on the scene and had only been around for 8 or 9 years, and decided that they were going to drop a bombshell on the rest of the manufacturers and produce the fastest production motorcycle to date. And this was the bike. So this is a 1970, and they came out in '69, but this is a 1970 Kawasaki H1 500. It is a 3-cylinder, 2-cycle. You can see it's got 3 pipes. You should come up here and look at the engine. You can see it is a two-stroke. It's a 2-cycle. And for those of you that don't know, most 2-cycles, especially these days, are dirt bikes. And back in the late 60s and the 70s, there was a lot of 2-cycle street bikes. They fell out of favor because of emissions, and you don't see them anymore. But this bike was 60 horsepower and would run a quarter mile in like the high 12s, which is pretty quick by car standard. Not really so much by the motorcycle standard these days. Today the bikes are a lot faster, but in 1969 it was crazy fast, and faster than anything else on the market. So then in 1972, they came out with a larger version, a 750, and I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, this bike popped up on Craigslist. I just happened to be screwing around looking at ads, and I found this bike, and it's got 11,000 miles on it. It has been put up since 1981, I believe. It was stored indoors. It's in decent shape. The pipes don't have any rust holes in them, which I was shocked. That's usually the first thing is the pipes rust out. Some numbskull did some modification to the fuel tank, unfortunately, and put these dents. Back in the 70s, everybody wanted to do custom things with their bikes. I mean, you can see the handlebars. These are what are called Z bars. Those are aftermarket custom handlebars. And then they did these impressions on the tank, which is unfortunate. So I'm gonna have to try to see if I can get those out somehow. But the bike is in pretty good condition, and these things are rising in value. There's less and less of them around, and they're getting more and more money for them. So I think it was a good buy. And it's got good compression. I think it's going to be a runner pretty easily. So anyway, it's a neat bike. I had one. I had in 1995. I was 14. I bought a 1972 H2 750 that was for $200, and it was in a lot better condition than this one is. And I managed to convince my dad to put a license plate on it. You know, being the super cool dad that he was, he had to know I was out blasting around on it. And when they were at work, I spent the entire summer just, you know, flying down back roads out in Jefferson County and having the time of my life at 14 years old. And I've always missed the sound and the feel of these things. You know, they just have a wild kind of a howl to the exhaust that is unmatched. You can't, there's nothing that sounds like them, and there's nothing that feels quite like them. They're pretty raw and you know, a little unhinged. And I mean, look at the cylinder sticking out the sides of the, they're just, it's just a cool motorcycle. And you know, I don't know what I'm going to do with this one. I would love to go through and do a nut and bolt restoration. Maybe I will. Maybe it'll be the first, because I think I could actually do that and make money on this bike. You know, not that I would want to sell it. I just, you know, anybody who knows me knows that I eventually, you know, sell most things. So I don't think there's enough time in this life to own all the cool stuff that there's been. So this might be a keeper. I don't know. They made a lot of different versions of them, but they are getting hard to find. This is an early one. You can tell by the scallops on the side of the tank. They just did that, I think, in 69 and 70. And it's got drum brakes in the front with two, it's like a dual leading, I forget what it's called, but they have two pivots that push on either side for greater stopping power. And anyway, that's about it. That's my new find. Maybe, you know, as I go with it, I'll take some update videos, and, you know, of course, when I get it running, I'll make a video so everybody can hear it. So, anyway, cool stuff. Take it easy, guys.